But I don't want to think about that. I don't think you want to think about that. I don't think either of us really want to talk about World War II right now. I want to talk about Peter Nygård. I want to talk about the elites. I want to talk about people having tissue farms. I want to talk about court filings claiming that, yes, he manipulated women and pursued disturbing anti-aging experiments involving fetal tissue and stem cells. I actually wanted to debut that at the beginning of the episode just to see how many of the audience we would lose, because there's a few of the audience members, not you, because you stuck around, but there are a lot of audience members. They hear one fact about fetal tissue being used and they instantly assume that you are this fucking QAnon weirdo who like, oh, you're going too deep down the rabbit hole, buddy. Well, online leaks and verified documents have also connected Epstein to similar claims of these types of tissue farms. He was deeply into the cloning aspects, especially at the Zorro Ranch. People were like, oh, is that dentist chair? It's just for removing the kids' teeth so that when they're doing sexual stuff, they won't bite. That's not the only purpose. They were doing this. They were doing infusions. They were doing IVF in order to impregnate people, to create clones. He was heavily involved in that because he wanted genomes to basically breed out humans where he could harvest their tissue. He could grab their stem cells. He could use these as anti-aging technology. And listen, the ultra-wealthy elite circles, they are still able to do this, and people do this regularly. We have normalized fetal tissue in all of our things. We just don't even realize this. The cosmetics industry is heavy on this. Okay. I'll start from the get-go. If you're not aware of Peter Nygård, he had a company called Nygård International. It produced a lot of clothing across multiple women's apparel brands, Nygård Slims, Peter Nygård Collections, Bianca Nygård, Aaliyah, Tan J, all that sort of shit. ADX, Allison Daly, big garment labels, honestly, in the women's fashion industry. If you've bought a pair of pants between the years of 1990 and 2000 and you're a woman, there's a chance that you've bought one of his products inadvertently. Legal documents unsealed in his ongoing criminal and civil cases reveal a disturbing pattern of systematic abuse. Nygård allegedly used his global clothing empire to systematically manipulate, drug, and sex traffic dozens of women and underage girls. However, beyond all of these sorts of claims, people want to start on, they're like, damn, the elites are sleeping with children? That is like, you have just begun. You have not, people are like, I discovered that Jeffrey Epstein was a pedophile, and now I know everything. And now I know that the elites are bad, but it's not all of them. It's only the ones that are like Bruce Wayne types who like have islands and stuff. And it's not everybody that I think of that when I see the Super Bowl halftime show. It's not these like artists and creative types. It's not. I know everything that there is to know. However, you ask any of these people about whether or not they are eating the children. You ask any of these people whether or not the blood ceremonies, the parties where people get in vats of the children blood, you ask them to go a step further into a little bit of human depravity, and suddenly they shut off. They shut off like robots because they're trained to. You are trained as a human being, unfortunately in the world today, to the moment when someone says they are ritualistically abusing children for anti-aging properties, you have been trained by your like, I listen to the science. I listen to Fauci. Even though I don't read what the label says on vaccines, I can literally see that it says fetal human tissue on the labels for these things. It's not that hard. They train you to not question these practices. They train you to just go to the doctor. They train you to see the guy who's in the coat, and he will tell you what it is. You don't have to think for yourself. According to court affidavits, corporate whistleblowers, Nygård poured vast fortunes into unregulated stem cell research and anti-aging therapies across Panama, China, and the Bahamas. He openly boasted about seeking immortality, claiming to have to receive embryonic stem cell injections 4 times a year, and even allegedly he had his own cells growing in petri dishes. And listen, this is foot in the door territory. So everyone in the government wants you to think that it stops at raping 12 and 11-year-olds. No, this is the beginning. Like I said, guys, tissue harvesting, cloning, via genome editing to impregnate women with biological life forms. That's essentially more than half you so that you can harvest organs from it. And if you don't feel like having this creature live in a tank for 18 years, just abort it. Aborted fetal tissue is selling on the black market because of stem cell therapies. It's remarkable for the anti-aging process. And these men, they kidnap mostly Central African women and also others and whatnot, but Central African women, their stem cells are like 10 to 100 times better for stem cell therapy. You can look it up up yourself. They abort the fetus as its formulation, development, and whatnot is almost done. They break down the baby. They inject it into these old men and women. They apply it externally via creams. Sometimes it's like the blood ceremonies like Mary the First of England, where it's like you bathe in the bathtub and it seeps into their skin. It acts as de-aging for these people. If you think I'm nuts, why are cosmetic companies using fetal tissue foreskin, admittedly, in women's face care products? If you doubt any of this, by the way, shut up. You're the crazy one. I'm not crazy. I'm just more informed than you. And I know it's troublesome for many minds, the idea that a brain that's only about 20 years on this earth is more on the vein of truth than you are, someone who might have been here, 30 to 90 years. I get it. You just didn't bother to learn anything in that time that you've been here. You listened to the music that the people put out on the radio. I looked at it and I was like, what are the people making the music into? That's why you talk to any of these people about how Jim Morrison, Jimi Hendrix, all CIA plants. You can look it up yourself. These people have never read Weird Scenes Inside the Canyon by David McGowan. It perfectly lays out how these figureheads with wigs and guitars, they're here to placate you, turn you bisexual, get you into casual sex, drugs, freedom only as far as it means you smoke cigarettes and you don't question the government too much. Or if you do, it's only limited to the response of Republicans. Ew, Democrats, and we need to be peaceful and let in immigrants to dilute the native population, man, because in the end, we're all just humans, man. It's tough. When you see someone who's like boomer, Gen X, millennial, even some Gen Z, they still buy into the lie, the grand lie that anyone in the government cares about you to any extent. They want to see you and your children do nothing more than obey. Folks, if you have done yourself the disservice of thinking that Epstein was only into sex and the occasional throat slit, enlighten yourself, please, to the reality of the world. And you're doing yourself the disservice. And I know I've talked to so many and they just go, ugh, I don't think it's good to immerse yourself in research. I just don't. Make sure you don't get too deep in that because you might start talking crazy and all out of the normal right-left political lines that we're normally used to discussing. You might start talking about crazy stuff like controlling the weather, human-animal hybrids, elite baby tissue farms, fetal extracts in your vaccines, pig DNA in every flu shot you've ever gotten. Guys, quit judging me for being informed if you don't like the reality of the world you call home. I realized why people don't like chatting me up. They don't love talking to me. It's because they hate seeing the truth of the world for what it is, which sucks because I think you're all just being babies about it. And not all of you, the people who've made it this far in the recording, they obviously are enlightened a little to the world, but we can't be babies about it. Being babies allows the other adults to keep their sex farms, impregnating slaves, to eat the baby 9 months later so that their smile lines don't show up for another 5 years. While we ignore the cities underground, the hospitals run by Satanists, the Gnostic pagans like Bill Gates who are trying to influence our world for profit, the longer we continue to eat the meat that has human in it, the worse it's going to get for us. Stop buying Tyson, by the way. Tyson meat products, they're responsible for like 1 in every 5 pounds of meat that Americans eat a year. Quit getting all of that shit. They've been proven to find, they found a human body in one of their shipping trucks one time. It has human in it. It's Soylent Green is human. Tyson meat is human meat. They have it in it's in there. It's been genetically tested. KFC gets it from it. McDonald's, all of the major food brands, they are sourcing their meat from places that have been proven to have intermingled human DNA into their meats. And if you do not like that truth, if you don't like that reality of the world, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that you have to open your eyes one day. You have to admit to yourself that there are people out there. By the way, I'm going to play this clip from CBC, excuse me. They are only going to say, he was a Jurassic pedophile who abused young women. They will never tell you the truth about the anti-aging. They will never tell you the truth about the human tissue farms, the women that he raped, assaulted in order to steal their baby and kill it and inject it into himself. This is real. This is real stuff. The elites will do this to you and your child. It's more likely that they're going to do it to their own child because it's going to be a version of themselves. They want to use their own DNA, but here's what they're going to do. They're going to kidnap your daughter because she's a breeding vessel to these elite billionaires. Once she starts to bleed, they use the Quran. They use like old Middle Eastern techniques where it's like once she's bled, she's ready. So these people begin the stem cell therapies early. And listen, they've only sentenced him, by the way, to 11 years in prison. He'll be out. Before you know it, he's taken so much of the adrenochrome, he's taken enough of the anti-aging stuff to where he is not anti-Asian, anti-aging. He's taken enough of the anti-aging stuff to where he will be able to live out this sentence. And by the way, you see this first photo of him in prison. When these people get off the baby juice, they start to decay like the bodies they are. They start to, unfortunately, I think he's going to have to like arrange for them to come in and give him the baby cells, because otherwise, I don't know if he'll be able to last out the entirety of the time that he's going to have to serve. Let's listen to this clip from the mainstream media. They're not going to mention anything like I just told you.
Justice Robert Goldstein called disgraced fashion mogul Peter Nygård a sexual predator.
Oh, of course, it's a Goldstein, and of course, the sexual predator that's such a danger to society only gets 11 years.
Used his position of power and wealth to take advantage of women, calling it a Canadian success story gone very wrong.
Justice Goldstein sentenced Mr. Nygård accordingly.
Really?
And found him to have committed these sexual assaults in a way that makes him, as we have been saying, recognizes the description of him as a sexual.
What about the killing babies? What about the stem cell therapy? What about any of that?
In the sentencing, the judge called Nygård a narcissist who felt entitled to do whatever he wanted. Nygård was convicted of sexually assaulting 4 women in the private bedroom.
This is the people, by the way, this is the same mainstream media that'll go, Jeffrey Epstein was an individualized child predator. He never had anything to do with Chelsea Handler. He had nothing to do with the people who run the industry. Not that Chelsea Handler's running the industry of business tech. I know she's big in comedy or something like that, but like, you know what I mean? He's having dinner with George Stephanopoulos, but they didn't do anything. You know what I mean? Like, what's his name? Lawrence M. Krauss, the one guy. He's a Canadian-American theoretical physicist. He's big in the world. He's 72 years old. And he is mentioned in the Epstyles repeatedly. He had a sexual assault case go up against him. And back in 2019, he was emailing Epstein, asking him for advice. He was like, yeah, this one girl that we have on the jury, she's not one of these young Me Too bitches. She's some old lady who might be understanding of the fact that maybe you grab a girl wrong every now and again. That just happens. You know what I mean? You're in these elite circles. You just grab women sometimes, and then whether or not they want to sue you is up to them. But okay. Let's take a look at this.
Toronto fashion headquarters between the 1980s and mid-2000s. One was just 16. Victims advocate Shannon Maroney read a statement from one of the women.
We did this to ensure every victim of sexual assault will remember this trial and feel the strength and confidence to come forward and not be threatened by social status or money.
Nothing about the genetic hybrids, nothing about his anti-aging therapy, nothing. The mainstream media wants you to know nothing about his actual crimes.
Women from around the world have alleged they were assaulted by Nygård. He faces charges in Manitoba, Quebec, and the United States. Some of those alleged victims were here in court for the sentencing.
Many of us have waited for this day for quite a few years. For me, I'm a 21-year survivor. I've been waiting for this day for 21 years.
The 83-year-old wore a black Canada Goose parka with a hood over his bearded face shielded by a visor. He declined to address the court. The judge mostly rejected calls for leniency based on Nygård's age and failing health. Nygård's lawyer promises to...
Failing health, he hasn't had a baby injection lately. He has not had an infusion of fetal tissue, and unfortunately, I hate that I sound this way. I hate that I sound this way when I'm just telling the truth. I know that it sounds crazy. I know that the vocabulary objectively coming out of my lips is shocking to many people. It's unfortunate that they want to sexually assault your daughter in order to make their baby half of an elitist. They want to steal her away, put her on some human tissue farm, and then she will be just this baby maker. And that'll just be, by the way, the most she'll ever be called is like a survivor. She's lucky if she lives, because guess what? You know who these women are that are talking right now at the press conference? It's the women that he like groped the pussy a little bit. It was not these people where it's like, oh, I was at the farm. He impregnated me 70 times, because those women are dead, by the way. Those women were killed, taken out back, shot, buried, and whatnot. They're gone. There's no chance that you're ever going to hear from them. The media wants you to hear from he had me in his office one time and he touched my titty.
Appeal the conviction and the sentence.
So he's just going to continue to defend himself where he can, appeal where he can, and continue to maintain his innocence in all of these matters.
It's innocent.
This marks the end of a stunning fall. Once a rich and powerful player in the fashion world, now likely to spend his final years in prison. Jamie Strachan, CBC
No,
News.
CBC News, Toronto, you're bullshitting me. Don't bullshit me. All I want is honesty. All I want is truth. But people will never be honest or true with you. They will always call you a fucking nut. They will always call you crazy if you just bring them facts, science. And they claim to be people of science and facts. They claim to be people of open minds. They claim to be really intellectualized. But then when you get to the heart of a lot of people's quarrels with truth, when you're like, why do you hate the fact that I'm telling you the truth about how elitists want to kill babies in order to inject them into their systems and get back their youth and vigor? They go, well, I just don't like thinking about it. Ultimately, it boils down to, I just don't like to think about it. My mind doesn't like to go to those. I want to hope that the world is better than it is. You got to give up. You got to stop with this like pretend bullshit fantasy. You got to stop pretending that the Freemasons are not a real order, the Knights of Malta. You have to be honest with the world. By the way, you got to open a fucking book like once. You have to invest yourself in research even a little bit. These people who demonize research, the idea of doing your research, the idea of poring over the text, the idea of going through things that we know to be true, I don't understand it. I understand that it's a massive psyop. It's the thing that South Park wanted to program into everybody. Back when they did the QAnon special, the vaccine special, they tried to demonize people who question the system even a little bit. They want you to fall into one very, very small sect of people. People who will take any order from Fauci and also defend his name and honor from any person who questions it. They want a very particular person. If you disagree with them because you don't think that Fauci, if you want to kill Fauci, and if you just think that he's not a good person who has your best interest in mind, you're lumped in the same audience. You're like, oh, you're just anti the science. You just hate doctors. You just want everybody to die. It's like you hear these people, they get demonic. They have a spirit in them that is loyal to a religion they didn't even know they were loyal to. They don't have God in their lives. Most of these people, they're not Christian. They're not Muslim. They're not, because keep in mind, these are more often than not the people with the grounding force of God. They were the people who called out the vaccines. They were the people who called out the mass programs for this shit. I mean, granted, if they were Catholic, they probably didn't. They're pretty good at taking orders in general. You know, the Jesuits. But my all honest opinion on this is that people who are willing to shoot you down for doing your own research, people who are willing to say, stop that. You need to stop. Are you questioning the Artemis launch? You think that NASA isn't a perfectly trustworthy industry that is interested in the progression of mankind? You're an evil piece of shit. Don't even bother with these people. These people are the same exact folks that will tell you you're nuts for, I judge Christians. Because what kind of a kooky person could think that someone could rise from the dead after 3 days? That's ridiculous. But the idea that we're creating a genome, a vaccine for a virus that has been proven to evolve at the rate that it does, to the point where you develop a vaccine, it won't be effective within the next year. Purely, it's all for psychological control. Same thing with the masks. You can look at the Senate committee report that was 600 pages. It got dropped early, like a couple years back. You can look at it yourself. The COVID episode, as we can call it, was the biggest example of human programming that we have seen in years. It's the biggest one that we've had. People were running around willing to listen to any individual. And guess what? The purveying the savior this time around was the scientists. They were like, well, fuck, we don't have God to turn to. It's not the Spanish flu. We can't just go and pray, you know what I mean, that these sores go away. Let's go sit in front of our TVs and take edicts from Bill Gates. Let's take edicts from Anthony Fauci. Let's formulate our entire lives around the basis of like, this is the first time we've had to deal with one of these types of crises. Trust us 100%. Listen to everything that we tell you. Otherwise, you're a bad person. That's the weird thing about COVID. It became like you are a bad person if you disagree with the ideas behind it. You want grandma to die. You want grandma to die if you're not willing to comply with all of the orders. That's how they do it. And I know that people are going to go, you sound like one of the nuts back in COVID. You're in on it. You are in on the massive programming. You're in on the lie. You don't even realize it yet. You didn't even know about Peter Nygård. So shut the fuck up thinking that you know half as much as I do. Half. Like, I'm going to be honest with you. If you are not able to come at me with facts, if you're not able to come at me with, like, names, dates, who are the Adelsons, I don't want to hear your conversations or opinions on anything. I don't want to. I don't want to hear it. It's not an informed one. It's not going to be a useful one to any conversation anyone could ever have. All right.